You know,
Yeah,
it's
it just
illegal.
it doesn't happen. You know?
But that's what we're dealing with here.
Look, I've seen many, Chad. I've seen many in my time. I've seen it in Western Australia, and I've seen it a lot out here, where these rich daddies buy their kids these sprint cars, and they keep crashing, 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 and they keep crashing, crashing, crashing until daddy takes them out because daddy's worried about them getting hurt after they get hurt a few times, and then
Right.
it's all over. You know, I've seen it tons of times here in California.
Right. And then this is why I was saying the talent deal and these coaches and all this bullshit. No. Daddies out there. Let me say something real quick, Outback. Daddies out there. No. It's not true. Just because your kid is in year 1 or year 2 and you think he needs to learn more to get better, no. Talent is fucking natural, all right? Talent is just, some people got it, some people don't. I'm not going to be egotistical and say I got all the talent in the world, but I had enough talent in my third fucking race in a race car to be driving on the outside where no one else was, pass for the lead, and almost win a fucking race. Got passed with 1 to go by their national fucking champion. People were walking up to me asking, how do you do that? My third race in my whole entire fucking life. If you and your kiddie have raced since he was 5 years old and you get to 14 or 15 in a sprint car and he can't get out there and figure it out in 1 year or 2, he's not going to learn how to be any good. You don't need more years of development. As much as these damn parts houses and engine builders and chassis manufacturers and shop guys are going to sell you on that because they want to keep taking your rich daddy fucking money, that's not true. Okay? So as much as these people are trying to hype you up like he just needs experience, no, they're just telling you they need some more of your money in the years to come because your bank ain't going to run out and that's going to keep my business open. So that's the true problem. There is the enablers.
Yep, exactly. You know, we used to have quite a few sprint car schools and midget schools out here in California, which seem to have gone away now. And I don't remember as much of a problem as we've got now. And I think that's probably the reason why is, you know, they get to the stage of coming out of micros and they think they're ready to take on the world of outlaws.
But isn't that the other, and this goes back to the vetting. There's guys that aren't kicking ass in micros moving up. I mean, the guys who kick ass in micros who move up do relatively well, or at least race soundly, who kick ass. You know, Corey Eliason, you know, Justin Sanders, Christopher Bell. You know, here's some big success. When you're successful in your ranks, whether that's micros or outlaw carts, I think outlaw carts is closer to a 410. But when you're Kyle Larson, when you're Justin Grant, when you're Logan Seavey, and you dominate these levels, I think you can move up. But the problem is, back to the money that these people probably want to make. If your kid's not winning and dominating in these levels, he probably don't need to go to 410s or 360 sprint cars. If he's not winning,
I'll agree with you there.
He don't need to move the fuck up. But then again, I didn't think about this until we got on this topic. I think that this could be a manufacturer issue.
Yep. Well, I got a friend who's got a bunch of sprint cars. They're all new, but they're you know 5 to 6 years old at least chassis, right? And I told him we need to go buy a 360 motor. He's got all 410 motors, so we need to go buy a 360 motor. And we need to put a deal together and put these kids on, because you're going to end up with new chassis because they're going to wipe all your stuff out, and you just keep writing the invoices to the rich daddies, and you'll end up with all new stuff. That's the way that you'll update the race shop, right? You know, and as sad as I say that and kind of jokingly say it, it's actually true.
I think so.
And
those people doing that, are the people with the money who influence the sport, who tell the sport what to do. So how are you going to come in here if you're in a ruling position and implement these changes that are going to take your sponsors bankrupt? Because they're making
the
money
other
off
thing
of
you've
these
got-
people.
The other thing you've got too is you've got tracks that some tracks are now very, very back gate oriented that want these kids to come and run because
Same
they're
thing.
getting the entrance fee and the back gate fee.
Same
right,
thing.
it bolsters up the numbers.
And
and
their
makes
daddy
it look
sponsors
good.
the track, throws a sign up.
Exactly.
How you gonna tell that money no? Money over morals is the fucking battle here.
You ain't gonna tell it. You ain't gonna tell it no. Yeah.
And that's why you gotta and this is why people don't like government. They want all this freedom and shit, but they really don't understand how a government sometime is needed. You know, a world outlaws for whatever bad they may give you, but it's a bad example, but sometimes government's needed. You know, somebody wants to come in and try to implement an Australia situation, there'll be a lot of people mad because they're going to keep away the financial cow that we're talking about. This is why people who are successful in the right wing of the American society, who's been very successful in business, they don't like it when regulation comes in, when you can't do coal mining because of how damaging it is to the environment around you. You know, the going green is stupid in some aspects, but when you see the effects of not just like atmosphere and global warming, blah, 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 but like poisoning waters, you know, like the damn deal up in Flint, Michigan, you know, there was regulations violated there that were in place so that these rich people don't just go out here and do anything they can to make a dollar and kill the water supply. You know, they don't just go out here and do everything they can to make a dollar without worrying about the world around them. And that's why government is there. Yeah, it's there to restrict you from certain freedoms because it's detrimental to society. Just like we have to halfway restrict the freedoms, I think, in this sprint car gig to safely race and not have these scenarios on the track.
Yep, and that's why I kind of like the Australian model a bit, where you have to go through ranks and race your way up to get a license. You just can't buy a sprint car and go racing.
Yeah, that's nice. That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Yep.
You shouldn't be able to go to sprint cars if you're a top 5 or 10 car in micros. You need to be racing. You need to be winning. If you don't know how to win, just because you go out there in a 12-car field and you ride around in 5th don't mean you're ready for a 410.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're running 10th in a 305, you're not ready for ready for a 410. But if you're going out there and you're whipping up on all the 305s every race, and you go and win 50% of the races, 70% of the races in a season in that 305, then yeah, you maybe make a case the 410. But I still think you should run a 360. And there's the three stages up in sprint cars: 305, 360, 410.
And when people tell me who's the best driver in California or who's the best driver here and why I don't subscribe to Kyle Larson being the greatest is because due to this situation, there are guys in 305s and 360s and other divisions of this country who are some of the best damn drivers of those divisions that have no opportunity in moving up. Because the car owner's daddy, the car owners that we have, that racing used to have, well, their sons went out and had kids and shit, and they ain't car owners anymore. They're just there to create a hobby for their kids. Now, this ain't the situation across the board, but some of these rich daddies and stuff, the Torgesons or anybody, should be car owners with badass drivers. You go around, you scout, and you look for a racer who could come up, who could be the next Kyle Larson. You know, who could be the next Steve Kinser? Screw Kyle Larson. Fuck that. Fuck Cole Trickle. Let's get some Kings back. We don't have none anymore, but that's the scheme. Regardless, you don't understand. Oh, well, some people don't understand that. But I'm just simply saying there's people out here who could be car owners that love racing. But they got their damn kids. They're putting money in their kids. No, put the guy who's winning in these lower divisions in some race cars. There's so many people in PA and Texas and Nebraska and California and across this country dominating in divisions they can afford, kicking rich kids' ass week in and week out, not getting one fucking opportunity to move up in the racing world. We're in a proper situation. Those are the ones who should be advancing.
Yep. And this is why I hate the NASCAR program when you get to NASCAR West.
Same thing.
And, you know, like ACA and stuff, because it's all pay to play. If you've got a big checkbook, you can go ahead. Now, Kyle Larson, yes, he is one of the greatest talents of all time, but you have to say he's one of the greatest of all time, talents of all time.
He's
that
the one
had
with
opportunity.
that had opportunity. Correct. Sorry.
And if people would add that at the end, add opportunity. And like you say, for every Kyle Larson, there's probably another 20 back there, like
Yep.
you say, that could be as good as Kyle Larson. Not
Yep.
just pick on Kyle Larson. Let's go with Christopher Bell. Let's go with whoever, right? You know what we want to do is, but even in the
And even the opportunity you bring up Christopher Bell, literally before Kyle had his inward situation and went to full-time racing dirt like he did, there was a legitimate debate having out there who's better, Christopher or Kyle, and Kyle had already got his ass beat by Christopher several times at the Chili Bowl and was already a leg up in the win-lose column. And the reason we're not able to properly judge who's better in dirt isn't because of the results category, it is now, but it's not necessarily because of one-on-one opportunity. It's because of the opportunity Kyle has to even race dirt cars. And that's the only reason he's in the position he is right now, because I guarantee you right now, for every race that Kyle Larson's won in the last 3 years, or since this N-word thing's happened, if Christopher Bell was in the field with them, whether that's a damn wing car, Silver Crown car, late model, I don't give a damn, Christopher Bell would have took 60% of those wins away from him.
Yep. And I credit to Kyle, he does, you know, he does acknowledge that Christopher Bell is a huge talent. Yeah.
Right. Well, and Bell came up just like Kyle, no money, didn't have no big West Coast monies either, and opportunities in NASCAR worked out for him where he had to be a slave to Toyota. You know, Kyle Larson went the free route with the Chevy deal that even opened up a spot for Christopher Bell in Toyota, because Kyle Larson was originally a Toyota racer. So, I mean, he is forced under this, and he should restructure his contract, but he's still underneath that Toyota banner. And even outside of the N-word, I mean, look at all the opportunities that Kyle got through all of that. Kyle, we're sitting here debating on how Bell or Larson could be considered equal. I think he'd take 60% of his wins away from him. And we're sitting here talking about Larson's going to run Indy 500. Is this conversation that was normal prior to the N-word, to most people right now sounds crazy for me to say that Christopher Bell could do everything Larson's doing. Most people would say it's crazy. But back then, they would say Bell was better. So everything that's happened right now is based on, even for Larson, is based on his opportunity. Because we have a pretty good example of a driver who is just as equally, if not better, behind the wheel of any race car, not being able or being talented or allotted a greatest of all time, going to Indy cars, doing all this stuff. He don't even get to do that because Christopher Bell didn't have these opportunities.
This is how we ride. This is how we do.